Welcome to TechCast by Raqmedia.com, your quick stop for the latest tech news, smart hacks, and cutting-edge updates. Stay informed, stay ahead. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to Raqmedia TechCast, your one daily stop for all the latest tech news and trends. Today we're diving deep into open source AI.
Open source AI, okay.
So get this, open source AI models are now challenging the big names in the industry.
It's not just challenging them, it's changing the entire AI landscape.
Wow.
Yeah, we're seeing incredible innovation from companies you might not have even heard of yet.
Okay.
Like DeepSeek, a Chinese startup that's building large language models.
It's DeepSeek.
Yeah.
I've heard of them.
These are the brains behind AI tools we all use, like ChatGPT.
Right.
And they're doing it with a fraction of the resources of companies like Google and OpenAI.
Okay, that has my attention. We all know AI development requires massive computing power, not to mention a ton of money.
Yes.
But DeepSeek built their DeepSeek V3 model comparable to ChatGPT for only $5.58 million.
Yep.
That's wild compared to the usual hundreds of millions.
It is wild.
How is that even possible?
So they're achieving this through some really innovative techniques. DeepSeek V3 utilizes a mixture of experts approach.
Mixture of experts.
Yeah, essentially, the model is broken down into specialized modules.
Yeah.
Instead of the whole neural network being activated for every task, only the relevant experts are called upon.
Oh.
This saves a huge amount of computational power and makes the model super efficient.
So it's like having a team of specialized doctors instead of a general practitioner trying to handle everything.
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense.
That's not all.
Oh, there's more.
DeepSeek also employs a technique called distillation, where smaller, more efficient models are trained by learning from the outputs of larger, more complex ones.
Oh, wow.
It's like having an apprentice learning from a master craftsman.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So they're making AI more accessible to everyone, not just those with access to supercomputers and huge budgets.
That's the goal, and it's a big reason why DeepSeek's open source approach is causing such a stir.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this is such a big deal. Before we go any further, though, can we take a step back and explain what open source actually means in this context?
Yeah.
For those of us who aren't software engineers.
Sure. Open source means that the source code of the software is publicly available.
Okay.
Anyone can view, modify, distribute, or even build upon it.
Wow.
It encourages transparency, collaboration, and faster innovation.
So instead of keeping their AI models under lock and key, companies like DeepSeek are sharing their code with the world.
That's right.
That's a pretty radical departure from how a lot of big tech companies operate.
It is. Companies like Meta have also embraced open source.
Meta, Facebook.
Yeah. Releasing their own large language models known as Llama to the public.
Llama.
Yeah. This contrasts with companies like OpenAI who have chosen to keep their models closed.
That brings up an interesting question.
Yeah.
Why would a company choose to open source its technology? I mean, wouldn't they want to keep their innovations secret and maintain a competitive edge?
It's a different philosophy. Open sourcing fosters rapid innovation through collaboration. It's like a global brainstorming session, allowing countless minds to contribute and refine the technology.
I see.
This can lead to breakthroughs that might not have been possible within the confines of a single company.
That makes sense. It's like the difference between working in silos and having a global team of collaborators all contributing to the same project.
Exactly. And there's another crucial point.
Yeah.
When code is open, it becomes more secure.
Oh, interesting.
It's like having thousands of eyes scanning for vulnerabilities and finding solutions.
Right.
This transparency leads to more robust and trustworthy systems.
So it's not just about being altruistic.
No.
It's actually a smart business strategy in the long run.
Exactly. And DeepSeek is demonstrating just how powerful this approach can be.
Okay.
Their latest model, DeepSeek R1, utilizes chain of thought reasoning.
Chain of thought reasoning.
Yeah, a technique that was actually pioneered by OpenAI.
Hold on. Chain of thought reasoning.
Yeah.
What exactly is that?
It's a way to enhance AI's problem-solving abilities.
Okay.
Instead of jumping directly to an answer, the model breaks down complex problems into steps, like a human would,
Okay.
and verbalizes its reasoning process.
So it's thinking out loud. That sounds like a big step toward making AI more transparent and understandable, right?
Absolutely. This thinking aloud process makes the AI's reasoning transparent and verifiable, allowing us to understand how it's arriving at its conclusions.
I remember reading how earlier models like ChatGPT struggled with seemingly simple tasks like Figuring out the right sequence to stack boxes in a certain way is almost comical.
Yes, but chain of thought helps address those limitations.
Okay.
It enables AI models to reason through problems more logically and arrive at more accurate solutions.
Interesting.
DeepSeek R1 takes this even further by being trained in a unique way.
How so?
Instead of being explicitly fed step-by-step solutions during training, R1 learns to reason independently.
Wow. That sounds almost like teaching a child to problem solve, not just memorize the answers.
That's a great analogy. It signifies a significant leap forward in AI development.
So DeepSeek's innovations, combined with their commitment to open source, are truly shaking things up.
They are.
This is seriously cool stuff. And if any of our listeners want to explore these concepts further, I highly recommend checking out Raqmedia.com.
Raqmedia.com.
We've got some in-depth articles and analyses that break down all these AI advancements in a way that's easy to understand.
That's great.
But let's get back to DeepSeek.
Okay.
What makes R1 even more impressive is that it doesn't require massive amounts of data for training, does it?
You're right. Earlier models needed to be fed huge amounts of data with explicit instructions for each step of a problem.
Yeah.
R1, however, learns by being rewarded for correct outcomes and sound reasoning.
Wow.
Right? This approach significantly reduces the data needed for training, making powerful AI more accessible and sustainable.
That's really interesting.
It's truly groundbreaking.
So this all sounds incredibly promising. I'm curious, though, what kind of impact do you think these developments will have on the wider AI landscape?
The potential ramifications are huge.
Huge how?
We're talking about the democratization of AI.
Yeah.
Smaller institutions and researchers who previously lacked the resources to compete with tech giants now have the tools to experiment with and develop their own powerful large language models.
It's like leveling the playing field, allowing smaller players to enter a game that was previously dominated by a select few.
Right.
I imagine that could lead to an explosion of creativity and innovation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it could force companies that have traditionally kept their AI models closed to rethink their strategies. As open models become more accessible and powerful, they may feel pressured to become more transparent and collaborative to stay competitive.
So it's not just about making AI more accessible, it's about changing the entire culture of AI development.
That's a great point. It's a shift toward a more open, collaborative, and community-driven approach, which could have a profound impact on the future of the field.
This all sounds incredibly exciting. But I'm also wondering, what does this mean for the average person? How will these advancements in AI actually impact our lives?
Well, imagine AI-powered tools becoming readily available to individuals and small organizations in fields like education, healthcare, and even the arts.
I could see how that would be transformative.
Think about personalized education tailored to each student's learning style, or AI-assisted medical diagnoses that can detect diseases earlier and more accurately. The possibilities are endless.
It's almost like giving everyone access to personalized superpowers.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just about access to tools, it's about empowering individuals to solve problems in their own communities.
This is truly inspiring stuff. But with any new technology, especially one as powerful as AI, there are always potential downsides or risks, right?
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
One concern is the potential for misuse.
Misuse.
Yeah. If anyone can access and modify these AI models, it becomes more challenging to control how they're used. We need to be thinking about ethical guidelines and safety mechanisms to prevent malicious applications.
It's like giving everyone access to a powerful tool without any safety instructions.
Exactly. It's a critical area that requires careful consideration.
Right.
Robust testing, quality control, and community-driven oversight will be crucial to ensure that open source AI is used responsibly.
It sounds like it's not just about the technology itself, but also about creating a culture of responsible development and use.
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
We need to encourage open collaboration while fostering a sense of accountability within the open source AI community.
So it's a balancing act, promoting innovation while also addressing these legitimate concerns about potential misuse.
Exactly. The open source AI movement is still in its early stages, and we're all navigating uncharted territory.
Yeah.
But one thing is clear, the potential benefits are immense, and it's up to all of us to shape its future.
This is a conversation that we'll undoubtedly be revisiting as this technology continues to evolve. And for our listeners who want to delve deeper into these issues, I highly recommend checking out Raqmedia.com.
Raqmedia.com.
We have an entire section dedicated to AI with expert analyses, thought-provoking articles, and the latest news on all things AI.
It's a rapidly changing landscape, and staying informed is key.
Now, I want to shift gears a bit and zoom in on a specific example that really highlights the potential of this open source approach, the box stacking problem. You mentioned it briefly earlier. Can you elaborate on that for our listeners?
Sure. It might sound trivial, but the box stacking problem has actually been a significant hurdle for many AI models.
Right.
It involves arranging boxes in a particular order, which requires not just understanding language, but also reasoning about spatial relationships and sequences of actions.
It's a great example of how AI needs to move beyond just pattern recognition and into the realm of true problem solving.
Exactly. Earlier AI models like ChatGPT relied heavily on statistical correlations in the data they were trained on. They were good at mimicking patterns, but they lacked the ability to reason logically through new scenarios. So when presented with a box stacking problem, they might get lucky if they had encountered a very similar example in their training data, but they would often struggle with novel situations.
It's like a student who has memorized the answers, but doesn't understand the underlying concepts. They're lost if the question is phrased differently or if the context changes.
That's a great analogy. That's where chain of thought reasoning comes in.
Chain of thought.
Yeah, this approach allows the AI model to break down the problem into steps, verbalizing its thought process, almost like it's thinking out loud.
Thinking out loud.
Yeah, it can reason about the spatial relationships between the boxes and figure out the correct sequence of actions.
So instead of just spitting out an answer, it explains how it arrived at that answer.
Exactly. This makes the AI's reasoning transparent and verifiable.
Okay.
We can see how it's thinking and identify potential flaws in its logic.
That's a huge leap forward in terms of making AI more understandable and trustworthy.
It is. And DeepSeek's R1 model takes us a step further.
What is it?
It doesn't require explicit step-by-step instructions during training.
Wow.
It learns to reason independently by being rewarded for both correct answers and logical thought processes.
So it's not just mimicking human reasoning, it's actually developing its own internal logic.
In a way, yes. It's learning through trial and error, guided by the rewards it receives for correct outcomes and logical reasoning.
That's fascinating. It feels like we're witnessing a new era of AI development, one that moves beyond simple pattern recognition and into a realm of more sophisticated problem solving.
I agree. It's an exciting time to be following this field with so much potential and so many possibilities on the horizon.
Now, I want to shift our focus to the competitive landscape in the world of AI. DeepSeek is clearly emerging as a significant player, but how exactly are they shaking things up?
DeepSeek's open source approach is a direct challenge to the closed proprietary models favored by some of the tech giants. By making their models and methods publicly available, they are fostering a more collaborative and transparent environment for AI development.
It's like throwing open the doors to a secret lab and inviting everyone to participate in the research.
Exactly. This open approach has several advantages.
Okay.
First, it allows for faster innovation.
Faster innovation, how so?
When more people have access to the technology, they can build upon each other's work, leading to rapid advancements.
It's like the difference between working in silos and having a global team of collaborators all contributing to the same project.
Precisely. Second, open source promotes transparency and accountability.
Oh, transparency and accountability. Okay.
When the code is open for everyone to see, it's easier to identify potential biases or flaws in the system.
It's like having a peer review process for AI development, ensuring that the technology is being developed responsibly and ethically.
Absolutely. And third, open source makes AI more accessible to a wider range of users.
I like that.
Smaller companies, research institutions, and even individuals can now experiment with and build upon these powerful models without having to start from scratch.
It's like leveling the playing field and giving everyone a chance to participate in the AI revolution.
Yeah.
But how are the big players like OpenAI reacting to this challenge?
It is. The AI landscape is changing rapidly, and it's an exciting time to be part of this revolution.
Now let's delve a little deeper into the specific innovations that DeepSeek has introduced, which are making them such a formidable player in this field.
One of DeepSeek's key innovations is their use of a mixture of experts architecture.
Mixture of experts. Okay.
This approach involves dividing a large neural network into smaller, specialized modules, each trained on a specific task or domain.
So instead of having one giant AI brain trying to do everything, you have a team of specialists, each focusing on their area of expertise.
Exactly. This allows for much more efficient use of computing resources.
I see.
Instead of activating the entire network for every task, only the relevant modules are called upon.
It's like having a team of doctors, each specializing in a different field of medicine. You wouldn't go to a cardiologist for a broken leg.
Precisely. This specialization not only saves computing power, but also improves accuracy.
So it's a win-win situation, more efficient and more accurate.
Exactly. Another key innovation is DeepSeek's use of distillation.
Distillation.
Yeah, this technique involves training smaller, more efficient models by learning from the outputs of larger, more complex models.
It's like a student learning from a master craftsman, absorbing their knowledge and skills.
Precisely. The smaller model, called the student model, is trained to mimic the behavior of the larger teacher model.
But why would you want to train a smaller model if you already have a larger, more powerful one?
There are several advantages.
Oh.
First, smaller models are much more efficient to run. They require less computing power and memory, making them more suitable for deployment on devices with limited resources.
So you could have powerful AI capabilities running on your phone or even on tiny sensors embedded in everyday objects.
Exactly. Second, smaller models are faster to train.
Oh, interesting.
This allows for quicker experimentation and iteration, leading to faster development cycles.
So you can try out new ideas and refine your models more rapidly. It's like having a nimble research team that can adapt quickly to new challenges.
Precisely. And third, smaller models are often more interpretable.
More interpretable. Okay.
It's easier to understand how they arrive at their decisions, making them more trustworthy and accountable.
So you're not just blindly trusting a black box. You can actually see how it's thinking. That's crucial for building trust in AI systems.
Absolutely. These innovations, combined with DeepSeek's commitment to open source, are making them a force to be reckoned with in the AI world.
It's a classic example of how innovation often comes from unexpected places, challenging the status quo and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
DeepSeek is proving that you don't need to be a tech giant to make significant contributions to AI.
I love that.
Their open source approach is democratizing access to powerful technology, fostering collaboration, and accelerating innovation.
It's a truly exciting time to be following this field with so much potential and so many possibilities on the horizon. And we at Raqmedia will be here to guide you through the latest developments, providing insightful analysis and expert perspectives. Be sure to visit our website, raqmedia.com, for in-depth coverage and exclusive content.
It's an invaluable resource for anyone looking to navigate this rapidly evolving landscape.
Now let's zoom out a bit and explore the broader implications of the rise of open source AI. How do you see this trend impacting the tech landscape in the years to come?
It's difficult to predict the future with certainty, but I believe the rise of open source AI will have profound impact on several fronts.
Give us your crystal ball predictions. What are some of the potential scenarios that you foresee?
First, I expect to see a significant acceleration in the pace of AI innovation. As more people have access to the tools and technologies, we'll see a Cambrian explosion of new applications and ideas.
It's like opening the floodgates of creativity, unleashing a wave of innovation that could transform industries and even our daily lives.
Exactly. Second, I believe open source AI will lead to a more decentralized and democratized tech landscape.
Decentralized, okay.
We'll see a shift in power away from the tech giants towards smaller companies, research institutions, and even individual developers.
That's like a power shift from the centralized kingdoms to a more distributed network of independent city-states, each contributing to the overall progress.
That's a very apt analogy. This decentralization will foster greater competition and innovation, leading to a more diverse and vibrant tech ecosystem.
It's a classic example of how open systems often outcompete closed systems in the long run.
Precisely. And third, I believe open source AI will have a significant impact on education and workforce development.
Education and workforce development, okay.
As AI becomes more accessible, it will be crucial for people to develop the skills and knowledge to understand and utilize these powerful technologies.
We'll need to adapt our education systems to equip the next generation with the tools to thrive in an AI-powered world.
Absolutely. We'll see a growing demand for professionals who can build, deploy, and manage AI systems, as well as those who can understand the ethical and societal implications of these technologies.
It's an exciting but also challenging prospect. We need to prepare ourselves for a future where AI is not just a tool for specialists, but an integral part of our lives.
The rise of open source AI is a transformative trend that will have far-reaching consequences. It's a journey filled with both opportunities and challenges, and it's crucial for us to navigate it thoughtfully and responsibly.
It really is, and for anyone looking to stay ahead of the curve, I highly recommend checking out Raqmedia.com.
Raqmedia.com.
We have a dedicated team tracking these AI trends and providing in-depth analysis to help you understand what it all means.
It's a really great resource.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential benefits of open source AI.
Right.
But we'd be remiss if we didn't address the potential downsides as well.
Of course, any powerful technology comes with inherent risks.
Right.
One of the most significant concerns is the potential for misuse.
Misuse.
When you have models that are accessible to anyone, it becomes more difficult to control how they are used.
Right.
We need to think about ethical guidelines, safety mechanisms, and ways to prevent malicious actors from exploiting these technologies.
It's like giving everyone access to a powerful tool without a safety manual. We need to make sure we're thinking about the potential consequences and building in safeguards from the start.
And another issue is the potential for bias.
Bias.
If these models are trained on biased data, they can perpetuate and even amplify existing inequalities.
Wow.
We need to be very careful about the data we use and develop methods to identify and mitigate bias to ensure these systems are fair and equitable.
It's like building a house on a shaky foundation. The flaws in the data will be reflected in the outputs of the AI system. We need to make sure we're building on solid ground.
Absolutely. It's not just a technical challenge, it's a societal one. We need to consider the social and ethical implications of these technologies and work together to ensure they're used responsibly.
So it's not just about the technology itself, but the values and principles we embed in it. It's about shaping the future we want to see.
Precisely. And this is where the open source model can actually be an advantage.
Oh, how so?
Having more eyes on the code, more people scrutinizing the data, and more diverse voices contributing to the conversation can help us identify and address these issues more effectively.
That makes sense. Transparency can lead to more accountability and ultimately more responsible development.
Exactly. It's a journey we're all on together navigating this new world of open source AI. It's full of possibilities, but it's important to approach it thoughtfully and with a focus on the long-term implications.
Well said. It's been a fascinating deep dive into open source AI and the rise of DeepSeek. I'm leaving this conversation with a sense of both excitement and caution, but ultimately optimism about the future of AI.
I share your optimism. It's a powerful technology with the potential to solve some of our greatest challenges and create amazing new opportunities. But it's up to all of us to ensure that it's developed and used responsibly.
I think that's a great place to wrap up. For our listeners, if you want to continue exploring these topics, be sure to check out Raqmedia.com for all the latest news analysis and in-depth articles on AI and other cutting-edge technologies.
Raqmedia.com.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Raqmedia TechCast, your one daily stop for the latest tech news and trends. I'm your host, signing off for today. Don't forget to subscribe on Spotify for your daily dose of tech insights.
Spotify.
A special thanks to our scriptwriter, Ezzedine Yahawi, for putting together this amazing episode. Until next time, stay curious.